What's going on, guys? Today I'm back with another Hat format replay review for you guys. If you're interested in sending in your Hat format replays, you can go down to the video description and find all the information on how to go about sending those in. Anyways, the match I have for you today, we have 07 Perfect Circle format, who is going to be on Madolche hands, versus Darwin Dawkins 09, who is going to be on Geargia Artifact. I've been seeing Geargia Artifact actually pop up a decent bit more lately, and so I thought it would be interesting to show it off, and hopefully this will be a good match. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Here it looks like Perfect Circle is going to win the rock, paper, scissors. Opening hands, we see Solemn Warning, Angeli, Dark Hole, Firehand, and Mewfew. So seeing Mewfew plus Angeli going first is very strong, especially backed up with a Solemn Warning, and they'll still get a draw for turn. And on the other side, we see Accelerator, Double Cyclone, Bottomless Trap Hole, Geargia Gear, and another Accelerator. So not even the worst hand from Darwin Dawkins either. But here, Perfect Circle will draw for turn, as mentioned, getting a copy of Bottomless of their own, so very, very strong. Here they are just going to go for the Angeli, though, so playing it a little slower. I guess there's really no reason to go for the Mewfew play in a sense if they want to take it a little slower, especially because usually it's just extra damage when they go for the Mewfew play. So here we are just going to see the Angeli effect, tribute off for Hootcake effect to banish the Angeli, to summon a copy of Messengelato here. Messengelato will then be able to adding a copy of Ticket. After that, they're going to activate Ticket, set to back row. So playing it a little more conservatively, which is honestly completely fine as well. Over to Darwin, who gets a copy of Armor, okay? And here they're going to take a second to think. They're going to normal summon Armor, special summon Accelerator, overlay for H.A.T, and that is going to eat that warning right away after that, setting 3 back row over to 07 Perfect Circle, who gets a copy of Magdalene. So they are just seeing all the cards they want to see. They're going to normal summon Magdalene, use the effect, and get an Angeli. So now they do have the Mewfew plus Angeli play for the following turn. After that, they're going to overlay into a copy of Dweller. A little interesting here. I don't know if they knew what each other's on. That is a possibility, or they were just trying to go for a generic rank 4 that can detach a material so that they would have this Messengelato in graveyard to be able to use this Hootcake again. And here they are going to use the Hootcake, banish Messengelato, summon Messengelato. Messengelato can then add the Chateau. So now they are really set up, switching the Hootcake to attack and going to battle phase and swinging in. And will we see anything happen here? No. Okay, so they just take a lot of damage, and in end phase, the copy of Hootcake will shuffle back via the Angeli, my apologies, and then the Ticket will be able to trigger here, and it looks like Darwin Dawkins is thinking on the Ticket activation, though. They are going to chain the copy of Double Cyclone, and then they are going to go for their own Geargia Gear and summon Geargiano and MK2. After that, they will draw for turn, getting a copy of Sanctum, so a pretty solid draw here, and let's see what they do. Here they're going to overlay for a copy of Geargigan X. Don't forget that the Geargiano summoned off of Geargia Gear are going to be level 4, and going for that Geargia Gear. And here they're going to chain the copy of Dweller and then activate the Bottomless Trap Hole on the summon of Geargigant, my apologies. And then they are going to just end up setting that Sanctum and having to pass. Here, Perfect Circle draws into a copy of Hootcake, so another good draw for them. And let's see what they do. Here, just going for the Hootcake, which is going to eat that Bottomless, and after that, going to battle phase and trying to wrap it up. But Darwin Dawkins does have that copy of Sanctum, so they are going to summon a Moraltech using the effect of Moraltech to pop the field spell. And from there, it looks like Perfect Circle is just going to end. They can't really out this board here, and Darwin Dawkins draws into a copy of MK2, which is a great draw for them here, because they can normal summon it, use the effect, and bring back another MK2, and now they have access to Soul of Silver Mountain, which they can run over the Messengelato, which will get shuffled back into deck, and because Soul of Silver Mountain destroyed a monster while it has material, they'll be able to summon back an Earth monster from grave, bringing back that copy of Armor, and then obviously the Moraltech is going to run over the Dweller. In main phase 2, they are going to, let's see, I guess they're having a little bit of lag and issues on their end, so they're just trying to clear that up real quick, and it looks like main phase 2, Darwin is going to summon that copy of Accelerator and overlay into a copy of Daigusto Emerald, detaching Accelerator and shuffling back H.A.T, Accelerator, and Accelerator, and getting a draw here, getting a copy of Dark Hole. Speaking of Dark Hole, 07 draws for turn, getting a copy of Breakthrough Skill, and this Dark Hole might come down, which it is, clearing the board here. And in that case, now they are going to go for that Mewtwo to close out the game. Mewtwo into Angeli. Angeli tribute, summon Hootcake. Hootcake effect is going to banish here, banishing the copy of Magdalene. From there, summoning that copy of Magdalene from deck. Okay, overlaying 2 for a copy of Levier. Levier can then detach, summoning back a copy of Angeli, overlaying those into Tiramisu. They didn't really even have to do all that. Darwin was only on 22, but here, moving into game number 2, Darwin will get to start this one out. And opening hands, we see Fire Hand, Dark Hole, Angeli, Trap Stun, and Wiretap. So again, a pretty solid hand here from Perfect Circle. And on the other side, we see Sanctum, Arsenal, Solemn Warning, Call the Haunted, and Scythe. So honestly, a pretty good hand here, especially going first for Darwin. Kind of funny that both players in their opening, turns when starting, both saw Warning. And here Darwin gets a copy of Accelerator, so very strong hand, summoning the copy of Arsenal using the effect, tributing 4 armor, and then from there, armor flipping itself face down, setting 4 back row over to Perfect Circle, who gets a Fiendish Chain. They're going to normal summon Angeli, and they say it's good. Use Angeli's effect to get a copy of Hootcake. Hootcake effect, and that is going to be met with Warning, okay. And it does get shuffled back into deck because it's destroyed in their possession. That's a weird bit of ruling stuff that people get confused as what is possession, but it will get shuffled back in here. A sort of similar situation is when like Cyber Dragon Nova gets hit with Solemn Warning, it will still trigger and summon like a Machine Fusion from extra deck. So it's kind of the same sort of wordings and stuff here. So anyways, keep moving forward. Dark Hole is going to be able to clear the Geargia armor, and then Perfect Circle is going to set 3 back row, Call the Haunted's activated in end phase, bringing back that copy of Armor, and over to Darwin Dawkins, who gets a copy of Beagle Tech. Not the greatest draw here. What was their back row again? It was Scythe and Sanctum, so unless they're on multiple Beagle Techs. But anyways, Armor's flipped up, and that is going to be met with Fiendish Chain. After that, Darwin is going to summon that copy of Accelerator, overlaying into a Geargigan X, using the effect detaching Accelerator and getting another copy of Armor here, going to battle phase and attacking in. So playing it a little more conservatively here, they're going to set that Armor and pass it over. Perfect Circle gets a copy of Messengelato, which is not really what you want to see. It's kind of the card that, like, it's an unfortunate, piece of the deck that you need to play, but here they are going to be able to summon that Fire Hand, and this is really strong because they can attack into the Geargigan. Fire Hand can then pop the Geargigan here, and oh, they're actually going after the armor. Interesting, but I guess it kind of clears more this way regardless, because now they can crash the Ice Hand in and get rid of one of those back row, which they say is good. And here they're going to pop the Call the Haunted, going for another copy of Fire Hand. Obviously, they went for the Call the Haunted because they know that Darwin is on the artifacts, and they don't want to risk hitting an artifact here. And here the Fire Hand will be able to crash into the Geargigan, and the Fire Hand will pop the Geargigan and then special summon a copy of Ice Hand, I would assume, if they still have them in deck, which they do, meaning that the Geargigan will miss timing and not be able to summon back a Geargiano, even though it looks like they don't even have one, so they wouldn't have been able to do that anyways. I completely forgot that they had used the Geargia gear last game. But anyways, after that, it looks like Artifact Sanctum is going to be activated, but Perfect Circle is going to chain that Trap Stun, so really locking down Darwin and then swinging in for 14. After that, over to Darwin, who gets another copy of Sanctum, so again, not terrible here, but it is going to be a little risky given how this game is going. They set the 2 back row and over to Perfect Circle, who gets a copy of Compulse. They're going to normal summon the Messengelato, and from here, Sanctum is going to be activated, but Wiretap is going to shuffle that one, and swinging in for a lot of damage. Let's see what happens here. Going to main phase 2, and they're taking a second to think. They're going to go for a 101 just as a defensive play, and then set that copy of Compulse. Here, it looks like Darwin gets a copy of MK2, so a very strong draw. They're going to normal summon it, bringing back the copy of Arsenal, using the effect of Arsenal, tributing it off for a copy of Geargiano, and overlaying into a Zenmaines. Ooh, but that Compulse is there, so this could be a little rough. Here they are going to Compulse the copy of Zenmaines, and they had drawn a ticket for turn. I forgot to mention, going to battle phase and attacking in an 07 Perfect Circle format does take this one with Madolche hands. Honestly, a kind of cool back and forth. It felt like a lot of times it could have really gone either way, but Perfect Circle just, saw great hands there, no pun intended or anything. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to go down to the video description to find out how you can send in your hat format replays, whether you won the game or lost the game. If you thought the deck you or your opponent was playing was pretty cool, feel free to send that in. I'm sure a lot of people would love to see it. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.